What is it about Peruvian pipists and ABBA? It's Tuesday after Easter, and I'm having a bad hair day. It's full of sun cream, actually, and I shouldn't be smoking, and I shouldn't have to wear a mask, etc., etc. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the side effects with this whole coronavirus thing. And that guy there symbolizes the Spanish tourist industry, so I suppose it's a pretty good place to start. Because, well, the beach is busy today on a work day, as you maybe can see. It's very busy. They're all locals. There's not much money coming in to this economy from its number one industry at the moment, tourism. The consequences we are being kindly shielded from. Ramifications kindly not being discussed or barely discussed by the mainstream media. And the consequences so far ranging, huh? I mean, I know you guys largely know this. I think we've probably all got tales to tell. And I thought I'd give you some personal perspective, because the last video I put out, I was explaining why I'm taking a break. There's one thing, one factor that I haven't explained. I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis, and you get these things called flares to come up every now and then. I'm very lucky with it. I've had it for 30 odd years now. As far as I can tell, that's when I was first diagnosed, when I was in my early 20s. Hey, I mean, look at me, I'm all right, you know. I'm fine. I've got rheumatoid nodules on my elbows, which have just developed in the last few months, and I don't know what's going on inside. Whatever. But one of the problems I have, which I'm sure a lot of people, I know for a fact that a lot of people have, is that they don't have access to their medical specialists. In my case, a guy in Harley Street, a fantastic old boy, Scott, who almost certainly is retired by now, because my condition has been pretty dormant for my adult life, so it hasn't really been much of an issue, but it's been. But now, who do you go and see? I can't get to London without going into one of these 14-day quarantine camps or something, and you know, kind of affects your life having to do that, and your purse. So we're affected, aren't we? We're affected in different ways. This coronavirus thing isn't the thing that stressed me out. There's probably something else that is an issue that I don't really want to go into, but stress is the thing that triggers these problems. And there's a lot of stress about at the moment, huh? A lot of stress about. There's a lot of ramification. So I'm not even allowed to take this damn mask off on the beach. They're now even saying that you should wear them when you're swimming. Despite the fact there is absolutely zero evidence that masks do anything useful. Oh, it's the reason we haven't got flu this year, they say. Oh yeah? Well, if flu is a coronavirus and COVID-19 is a coronavirus, presumably these particulates are, a pretty similar size. What's the difference? Why is there this huge, these outbreaks of COVID-19 and not flu? Masks are catching flu, huh? But they're not catching COVID-19. They're catching one coronavirus, but not another. They might as well be applying leeches. It's a real shame. I've always been a little bit dubious about the scientific community, the medical community. I used to have a lot more respect for it than I do now. I realise they have their peer pressure, that these people want to keep their jobs. I realise pyramids work and that people either keep with the narrative or they lose their jobs, their houses, their children perhaps. Pyramids work. So I went to see this specialist about 15 years ago. The last time I had a really bad flare, rheumatoid flare, in Spain, where I had come to live. And this guy in this very posh suit, clearly earning a shed load of money, he told me that I needed to go on chemotherapy for the rest of my life. That would solve my problem. Just ingesting a whole load of drugs. I didn't do that. I went back to Harley Street to see my old specialist, which I could do then. And wonderful man, Scott. And he said, look, Ollie, that's nonsense, I'm sorry. Just, you just got to do what you feel is best. The truth is that we don't really know what to do with this rheumatoid arthritis thing. We're very much in the dark. There's so much of it we don't know. He was honest in a way that they're not being honest about coronavirus today. Instead of saying we don't know about masks, they're saying you need a double mask. You need to wear stockings over your masks to hold them in place. Isn't that what Fauci said? So I ignored that guy, and I had 15 years with no problems, with no flares near us, damn it. The occasional flare, and I would have some sort of an anti-inflammatory, nip it in the bud, and it would go away, and that was great. This particular flare developed about 3 months ago, and I did that, but it didn't work. I took my Airtal, this drug, this NSAID anti-inflammatory thing, which is about the strength of ibuprofen, yes, which is quite strong, by the way, ibuprofen. You should never have it on an empty stomach and that stuff, and preferably have a stomach protector, something like omeprazole if you're gonna. Anyway, so this guy, had I taken his advice, then I would be full of chemo, with whatever side effects by now, as opposed to having had 15 years of no problems really. But now, I only say this really because I think there's a load of people in the same boat. I got a problem where it won't go away, and it's very difficult to know what to do. Yeah, the kind of the people that I really think are pioneering as best they can in this particular field of rheumatoid arthritis. They are in London. They are in Harley Street. But I can't get over there. Can't go see them. There's somebody I know, very dear to me, who is suffering from a chronic depression now with this thing. And I think that's probably the biggest issue that we have as a society. If we take away all the crap about Meghan and Harry, and I don't know, one life matters more than another, or any of that crap, any of that divide rule tabloid fodder, if we take that away, the kind of issues that we should really be talking about are: what is the effect of this on our society, on our children? Not being able to learn social skills properly, with people losing their jobs, their livelihoods, and 2 + 2, guess what? So I guess that's my point, is this thing is becoming more of an issue for us. I mean, in my case, I can't actually type with my left hand at all now. I can use my mobile phone, but if I want to use a keyboard, I can't. I can't twist my wrist in such a way that I can use the keyboard without it feeling as though I've got somebody sticking a needle right into the joint of my wrist, twisting it on the nerve. That's what it feels like. And I've had to suspend various activities, anything that involved writing or coding, basically. And coding is my livelihood. That's what I need to be able to do, and I can't do it. The other thing I'm very good at and that I enjoy doing are things like electricity and carpentry and plumbing and stuff like that. I'm very, very good at all that stuff. I've renovated, 3 properties now, and done a whole load of stuff. But the truth is, I can't really do any of that either. It's constant pain if I do, and as soon as there's some sort of vibration, use some kind of an electric tool, there's a vibration on there, and then the next day I really feel it. Did some renovation yesterday, just some furniture, I didn't even use a power tool, I just used my hands to sand down some stuff, and didn't sleep very well last night. So it's difficult. I'm not after self-pity. I'm not after pity here or anything like that. I mean, this is, it's just one of those things. There's far worse things at sea. But I think as a society, we just need to take seriously what we're actually doing to individual people. And as I say, I believe, I reckon, this now has affected everybody. Hold on a sec, I'm going to try and jump this. Am I going to be able to do that? I don't know. Let's have a go. Hold on, this is where I lose the phone. Probably do me a favour. Yeah, one wet foot. We need to be talking about that. We need to be talking as Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's orange, you know. He's so orange. He was the guy that wanted to disinfect everybody. And then nobody bothered to look up what the word meant, and then realised that actually he was completely right, that that's what things like ultraviolet light do. He never mentioned bleach people. That was CNN, yeah. We are making the cure far, far worse than the cause. I think I can get away without wearing this now. No police on this stretch of the beach. We're making the cure far, far worse than the cause. That's the danger. You know, there's tens of millions of people in every one of our nations who can't get out. And the reason they can't get out is because they're told the infection rate is so high. Well, for a start, infection of what? Because, you know, we're being infected by things on a daily basis. That's what our immune systems are designed over the course of millions and millions of years to be able to sustain and actually to profit from. That's why you have a gut full of microbes that are in themselves toxic, but good for you because they help you to digest your food, for example. But no, we don't, you know, the immune system is not as important as wearing a mask. That's one point. The second point is that this test, the PCR test, they know it's a joke. Even Boris said about a year ago now that the efficacy was only 7%. That's gone up and down like a yo-yo, depending on how many cycles they give the test. Anybody that has bothered to watch a broad spectrum of information or read a broad account of what's going on will know that the PCR test, the guy that invented it said, who conveniently died just before this coronavirus outbreak, by the way, he said this thing is not a fit test for a SARS-like coronavirus. But hey, he only invented the test, yeah. I mean, why would you expect BBC News to debate that? The merits of what he said, you know. He merely invented the test. Follow the science. No, but it depends on the science. So these PCR tests, we know. I mean, if you know, well, no, most people don't know. But I mean, for example, in the Bundestag in Berlin, an MP went in with a can of Coca-Cola, and he drove in front of all the other MPs. He made that can of Coca-Cola test positive for coronavirus. If you run the test enough times, enough cycles, it will pick up any little trace, germ, somehow coronavirus related, and come back as a positive for COVID-19. And the CDC, for example, the Center for Disease Control in the States, they have said, you know, the truth is that if you've ever had flu or even a common cold, could be decades ago, that your PCR test could come back positive. In other words, a false positive so far as COVID-19 is concerned. And of course, they haven't actually isolated this thing, this COVID-19. They haven't actually isolated it. They're telling us all about, you know, what we need to do to protect ourselves about this thing that they haven't. No scientist anywhere on the face of this planet has isolated. And they expect people that actually bother to do a bit of research, as opposed to just being told what to think by the same kind of people that sold us countless wars and Russian conspiracies and lies and lies and lies. These same journalists, so-called journalists, they're not journalists. These globalist PRs expect us to trust them when they tell us that we are living amidst a pandemic. A pandemic, yeah, is when you walk down the street and there are people lying in the gutter dead. That's a pandemic. That is what we were taught when we were kids. They changed the definition. They changed the definition about 13, 14 years ago. How convenient. How convenient that they can use this frightening word now to describe something which is almost certainly no more infectious than flu, which a few years ago, for example, in the United States, 2018, 2019, again, according to the CDC, their website, go there, check it out. It says that flu season there were 220,000 infections with 22,000 deaths. 10% died. 10%. 10% is a lot higher than the mortality rate from this COVID-19 thing. And this mortality rate, again, according to the CDC and the British government, if you look at their papers, their advice notes to medical practitioners, to people that sign death certificates, if in doubt, put COVID on the death certificate. Oh, and they actually say this at the CDC in the same notes. And if after an autopsy it turns out that the cause of death was not COVID, it will not affect the national statistics. In other words, they will still count COVID, irrespective. So that piper there, yeah, chucking out the ABBA, he's going to have a lean year. He's going to have a lean year. And all these restaurants down here that are open at the moment, thank goodness, they're open a bit more. They are at risk again of being shut down because of something where the mainstream media can't even be honest to debate where this thing came from. Don't question the WHO, the fact that the WHO is in hock to China. They just don't question any of this. They don't question Biden and his links to China. They don't question any of that, despite the fact that it's out there. Oh, now we're hearing about Hunter Biden, aren't we? It's awfully kind of them to tell us after the election, isn't it? Awfully kind of them to tell us to begin to breathe some reality about his laptop, which he said the other day in an interview it could be his. You know, that laptop where he's frolicking with underage girls, one of which is supposedly, reportedly, allegedly his own niece, and his father turning a blind eye, now the President of the United States. It's all good, isn't it? It's all good. It's all good. and we live in a bizarre world. So that's another reason why I'm not doing a lot at the moment, folks, because it is just bloody painful. It's actually painful holding this phone up. I'm off to see a Chinaman. I got no problem with the Chinese. I got a big problem with the CCP. I got no problem with regular people. I'm going to go and see a Chinaman about some Chinese medicine tomorrow regarding this rheumatoid arthritis. We'll see what they can say. Hopefully they're not going to prescribe me to go on cancer drugs. Hopefully there's some sort of a herbal cure. One thing that he will say, I know he will say, he should say, is, why the hell are you smoking? You know, I like smoking is the thing, you know, I'm addicted to probably, but I actually like it. But the truth is I shouldn't be smoking, I know that. My body tells me now. It didn't do for years, but it does now. It tells me that I really am pulling in poison and it's not good for my blood. And this rheumatoid arthritis thing is a blood disease. So anyway, there you go. Just a little bit of personal reflection on yeah, it's time for people really to wake up. Stop taking this crap, you know, this you've got to get vaccinated with some vaccine that isn't properly tested. It's just absolute nonsense. It really is. It's the science of leeches. It's quacks. It's quackery. And it is time that people stood up and said, we can't trust the stats. By your account, WHO, by your account, CDC, by your account, British government, we can't trust the stats. Why on earth should we be vaccinated and put ourselves at risk and become more subject to the state, lose more of our liberties? And of course, you know, they're saying it now, if you don't have a vaccine passport, you won't be able to fly. It was a conspiracy theory just a couple of months ago, wasn't it? Yeah, well, guess what? Pulling back at the moment is old Bojo the Bort, from telling us that you have to have a vaccine passport to go in a pub. That's awfully kind, isn't it? And now apparently the vaccine passport is only going to be a temporary measure. Yeah, well, it's a bit like it was 14 days to save the NHS, yeah. That was what? 12 months ago. You've got to try and keep the balance. Why can't we just have some honest talk, yeah? Why can't we have some honest talk? I know there's a lot of people out there that still like Bojo. It seems to me, just because he's got a cracking character. I mean, he has. I mean, by the way, I think the guy in many ways is sort of innocent. I think he's just a puppet. I think he hasn't got any choice. I think he's been threatened. I think this is the way that the pyramids work. That fascism is what is in control here. And people like Boris, leaders like Boris, all of them, Biden too, they're just being told, you go along with it or. And but the guy is a fraud. He may be between a rock, the electorate, and a hard place, the globalists. But nonetheless, he is a fraud. And you only need to look at what's going on in Northern Ireland now, with the riots going on pretty much every night at the moment in Londonderry. The media is kind enough to tell us that they're going on, by the way. Oh, way down the running order, of course. But they don't tell you why. They don't tell you why, and I'll tell you why. It's because they know, these people, they know that they haven't got Brexit. There is no Brexit in Northern Ireland. 1/4 of the UK makeup does not have Brexit at all. In fact, it's an annex. It's been annexed to the EU, effectively. with ramifications for the rest of the UK too. Oh, quite aside from the fact that it could split up the United Kingdom and be used, for example, by nationalists in Scotland and so on and so forth to pave the way to break up the UK. Yeah, no, they don't have Brexit, and they know it, and they're actually setting cars alight and getting very annoyed. And on the BBC, for example, over the weekend, I heard them say there was unrest in Northern Ireland last night, but they did not say why. They're very good at giving you half the story. They're very good at, if you like, covering the bases without actually getting into the nitty-gritty and really looking at what is the reason, what actually is going on here. This isn't journalism, people, and it's not leadership from people like Boris. It's he's a surrender monkey, surrendered to this technocracy, which is orchestrated by plutocrats, and so on and so forth. Now I refer to all the above because I am repeating myself, probably. Yeah. Please think, people. Please think. This is affecting us all. As this goes on, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get a lot worse. And we are surrendering our liberties based on quack science. People are in pain and they don't know what to do about it. They can't sort it out. They can't see their relatives. They can't go to funerals. It's absolutely disgusting. All based on a phony PCR test. God bless you, folks. I hope that the Chinaman or the China lady can sort me out, and I'll get typing again. Get tapping out some code, and who knows, maybe do some interviews. God bless you. Cheerio. Olly Connelly, Daily Chaos. DailyChaos.news, people. Go subscribe. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be there. Ciao, ciao.